Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman met with the media on Thursday, which means we have an updated injury report. We got some news to talk about with that. Before we dive into this week's insider video, please hit the thumbs up on this. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. And of course, go to blueandgold.com for so much more coverage on the Fighting Irish football team and recruiting. And here is that availability report. Questionable: Cooper Flanagan and Devonta Smith. And then a large list of guys out for the game. It was a long list of questionable. Some guys came off of the injury report. Others were added to the out for the game against Boston College. So, Tyler, tell us, what are the biggest takeaways for you looking at this week's injury report?
Yeah, it's probably that Jaden Greathouse is out for the game. We haven't seen him play since September 27th against Arkansas. And then the other big one is Devonta Smith remaining in that questionable category. He's another guy that we have hardly seen this season, and Notre Dame would be a different team if he was out there. But a couple of positive things before we talk more about Greathouse is that Jordan Botelho, Logan Thomas, and Matt Jeffrey, all guys that Notre Dame uses in various capacities, were upgraded, if you will, from questionable to completely left off of the sheet that we just saw. So you should expect to see him in those capacities. Jordan Botelho usually starts at defensive end. Logan Thomas plays a lot of special teams. Matt Jeffrey plays a lot of special teams as well, and even some wide receiver in a few games this season. So that's good news. But the bad news, again, Eric, is that Jaden Greathouse missed the entire month of October, and the calendar flips to November on Saturday for this game, and we're not going to see him play again. So I think the big thing for me, Eric, is that Notre Dame is treating this the right way, because with Smith, for example, he tried to come back from that injury and he re-injured it, and that's why you haven't seen him to date. They're not going to do that with Jaden Greathouse. He's got a hamstring injury that clearly is taking time to heal, and they want to heal it the right way.
Hey, Eric, Greathouse has played in 4 games this season. We haven't seen him yet. Is there any conspiracy here? What do you think? You know where I stand on this, by the way.
Yeah, I do know where you stand. There are conspiracy theories. I think they're all hogwash. And part of that is that's not the way Notre Dame does their business. That's not the way Jaden Greathouse does his business. And we've seen such weird things in college football this year. You want to believe anything. I mean, that coaches get fired in September and October. But with Jaden Greathouse, and just talking to sources inside the Goog, they're really excited about eventually having him back and being a really good, one of the remedies in them not being a great red zone team right now. They feel like they could throw fade balls to Jaden Greathouse and he'd be really good at that. So they're really eager to have him back, but they're not in a position where they have to push. And I think that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Another thing with the Greathouse situation is he may end up transferring at some point, but that's not a decision that he's made in the middle of this season. He's fully committed to this football team. He's fully committed to getting healthy and helping this football team at some point. If you guys watched Six Pack earlier in the week, one of my bold predictions is that he's going to do that. If Notre Dame makes the playoff, I would not be surprised to see Jaden Greathouse in that playoff doing some of the things that he did in last year's CFP, which was give Notre Dame a chance to win a national championship against Ohio State and then help Notre Dame beat Penn State in the national semifinals. So right now, as it pertains to Greathouse, he's trying to get back and he's trying to help this team.
Yeah.
So one thing I'll add real quick too is we had Dane Brugler from The Athletic, draft analyst, on our podcast, Third and Goal podcast last week. And he said going into the season, if he said who's the number 2 Notre Dame prospect that's draft eligible, he would have said Jaden Greathouse at that point. Now it would be Jadarian Price, but that's how well thought of Jaden Greathouse is on the next level by people that scout this team.
Eric, as quickly as you can, for folks who have missed, update, we get asked about Jagisaw, Rubio, and Strauss injuries all the time. Can you give us a quick summation of those 3 and what their status is?
Jagisaw is, I don't think we would see him in the regular season and may not see him in the playoff. But definitely not in the regular season. Billy Schrauth, I think they're going to be real careful with him. I don't think they're going to push to get him back like for, let's say, Pittsburgh. He could. I mean, he's going to want to. But, I do think we would see him in the playoff. Who was the third person?
Rubio.
Rubio, according to Jason Anye, who I talked to Tuesday night, he said he'll be back really soon. We're not going to see him, right away, but we will see him before the end of the season for sure, according to Jason Anye, who I believe.
Yeah, Rubio
And
is
that's his best friend.
And he's a tough cookie, Rubio is. So I would fully
Yeah.
anticipate him
That's
getting
an
back
elbow
as soon
injury.
as possible. Eric, what's the deal with sophomore wide receiver Cam Williams? Obviously, a guy who, during his recruiting process, had a 5-star tag attached to his name for a little while. Didn't end up the cycle as one, but I mean, a huge recruiting win for Notre Dame. He's a sophomore, but we're not seeing him. What's kind of the deal with Cam Williams? What did Marcus Freeman say about him on Thursday?
Yeah, no career catches, 26 career snaps, and quietly behind the scenes, he's getting it done, according to Marcus Freeman, that this is a guy that's getting closer and closer to being able to play. And he kind of used the analogy of Leonard Moore last year when Leonard was a freshman, that, we saw little bits and pieces of him, and then all of a sudden he was a star. And I'm not saying that Cam Williams is instantly going to be a star, but he does feel like this is a guy that's really moving in the right direction. How much we'll see him in November, I think, depends on the scoreboard and Micah Gilbert's health, and Micah Gilbert is out. But I think Cam Williams is a guy that still has a future, and a future at Notre Dame. And spring's going to be a big time for him, but we may see him in November.
Yeah, with the Notre Dame wide receivers, you have to realize that there's tiers to this. There's the guys who are trusted to play and do play every single week. Those are your Malachi Fields, Jordan Faisons, Will Paulings. When Jaden Greathouse is healthy, he's in there. And then Micah Gilbert and KK Smith are sort of your swing guys. Situationally, they'll go in there. The rest are developmental projects. Like Logan Saldate is one of those. Elijah Burris, Marcus Freeman came out on Thursday and flat out said, yeah, we're redshirting him. That's our plan for Elijah Burris. He's going to play in 4 games or less, and that's all you're going to get. Now, Cam Williams obviously has already taken that redshirt, so you can play him as much as he wants, or you can this season, and it wouldn't have changed one way or the other. So I'm kind of with Eric. Hopefully you see some blowouts for Notre Dame's sake in this month of November, and you see Cam Williams get that first catch, maybe even get that first touchdown, and just get those reps under his belt that are necessary to go into that third year. Because for a lot of players at a lot of different positions, it's that third year where it's like, okay, I've been here for 2. I might be here for 2 or 3 more. Let's really start to begin this thing in earnest. And I think that's sort of the trajectory that Williams is on.
Yeah, now or never for Cameron Williams Jr. season's kind of the vibe. And I think that's a good update, guys. He's in good spirits. You see him doing all the social media stuff and the podcast like that.
Yep.
So Notre Dame's happy with his progress. Cam's in a good spot. So that's all good news for me. Let's talk about the game this Saturday. We are expecting Notre Dame to roll the Eagles on a Saturday afternoon. One development we don't know about yet, Eric, is who Boston College is going to start as their signal caller. Tell us about the 2 guys. What do we need to know right now?
Dylan Lonergan is an Alabama transfer, started the first 6 games for Boston College and started out really strong. I mean, he was up there in all the statistics. The one thing Boston College does well is throw the ball. And then they're like, well, we're on this losing streak. Let's switch quarterbacks and put Grayson James. And his numbers are very similar. He's a guy that started for them at the end of the last year when they thought Thomas Castellanos wasn't the answer, strangely. And now they're like, well, we're not sure what we're going to do. I don't think it makes a big difference as far as what Notre Dame's going to defend, because Boston College can't run the ball. They can't put you in those run-pass dilemmas, and they're awful at protecting either quarterback.
Yeah, the one thing that Marcus Freeman said would maybe be different between Lonergan and Grayson James is the latter runs a little bit better, and they lean into his running game a little bit more. So you might see some designed runs. But again, if you're running behind an offensive line that can't block and passing behind one that can't block, and the run really does set up the pass for any football team, and they're not able to run the ball. So I think Notre Dame would be able to key in on the passing game of Boston College. Like Eric said, if there is something they do well, it's pass. But I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case against Notre Dame because of the great pass rush that you're seeing from Notre Dame recently. The defensive back play has gotten better. The linebackers are getting involved in coverage. So there's a lot weighing against Boston College in this game. And if you don't know who you're going to throw out there as a quarterback, you're probably behind the 8 ball to begin with.
Of course, Boston College 1-7 overall this season, 0-5 in conference. Their only win against an FCS team. So yeah, they are not a very good football team. They did play Louisville pretty well. That was just on October 25th, losing 38-24 on the road. But yeah, that's how bad of the team we're talking about. They're losing 14 points against Louisville, and we're like, oh man, that was a good outing for them. I mean, we'll see what they're able to do against Notre Dame, but I do expect the Irish to win big. Last time I checked, Notre Dame 28.5 point favorites on the road, so we'll see if they're able to cover. But yeah, Notre Dame should win this one comfortably, folks. It's comfortable to just hit the thumbs up on this video. It's very easy to do. It's just one click, so please do that. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Head over to blueandgold.com for so much more coverage of your Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you next time.